What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Part 2 of the 3 for McD today. If you guys missed the first video, I went over a whole bunch of duels with a whole bunch of different decks and strategies like Galaxy Eyes and Invoked, Shaddoll, Winged Dragon of Raw, all that good stuff. So I would recommend you check that out. But there's another new archetype out. I played against it once, I had no idea what was going on, so I thought it'd be good to go over it and give my opinion on the archetype. I've heard some good things about it, and also I was impressed when I played it myself. I won, but it was like barely. This is Exosister Eris. Very cool. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you control an Exorcist monster, or I should say Exosister, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you control the Stella, then you can gain 800 life points. Who cares? If a card is either in either graveyard is moved elsewhere by your opponent, you can special summon. You can XYZ summon an XYZ monster using only this card you control as material. Well, that's pretty cool. One card XYZ summoning. Why not? Neato. I think both of them are very good. And either player's graveyard is moved elsewhere. That happens a whole bunch, man. Your opponent may banish their own cards. They may try to banish your stuff. Very, very good. And it's a free special summon. Alright, so let's go. This is Exosister Stella, so this is the one that lets you gain 800 life points, I guess. You can only use each of these effects once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon one Exosister monster from your hand. Then if you control Eris, gain 800 life points. I'm sure this is Eris. That's Irene. That's Sophia. Oh, I guess. Okay, so if you control either one of these, like the first one is Eris. So cool, getting 800 life points. I guess if you're going around, those kinds of effects actually can make a difference. That's kind of silly of me to say. IRL Yu-Gi-Oh! At least. If a card in either graveyard is moved elsewhere by your opponent, you can XYZ summon one Exosister XYZ monster by using only this card you control as material. Wow, it's the same exact effect, except the name is just slightly different. Why not? Although, that's true. This, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then it's let you special summon a card from the hand. So as long as it's not, maybe you can get 3 of them on the field. Who knows? This is Exosister Irene. They're all light 4 spellcaster effect monsters. Maybe Secret Village of the Spellcasters can be in this deck. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you can place one Exosister monster from your hand on the bottom of your deck, draw one card, then you control Sophia, gain 800 life points. And that's Sophia. So I guess they pair together. If a card in either graveyard is moved elsewhere by your opponent, you can XYZ summon. So I guess all of them have that effect. Your opponent definitely... So you might have 3 of these available on the field to do this. We'll see if they're hard ones per turns on the XYZ monsters, I would imagine. This is Sophia. You can only use the following effects once per turn. If you control another Exosister monster, you can draw one card. And then you control Irene, gain 100 life points. And if something's moved, you can XYZ summon an Exosister XYZ monster by using only this card you control. So all 4 of them do that. You're definitely, well, I guess your opponent has to walk into it to a certain extent, but maybe they just don't have a choice, you know? Ugh, that does kind of scare me a little bit. We'll see though. I mean, you're going to be able to go into these regularly, so I guess it's just icing on the cake for the most part. During the turn, this was XYZ summon using the Exosister monster as material. Quick effect. You can target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. See if you could trigger the XYZ summoning. Now we're talking about something just silly. Alright. Number 2, cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster special summon from the graveyard. There's a lot of graveyard hate. Is this just like modern Necro Valley? Can you play the 2 together? I don't know. Well, I guess you wouldn't want to. You want them to move stuff, so never mind. It's like the exact opposite. But the same idea of not wanting, messing with your opponent's graveyard. You can attach one material from this card, add an Exosister spell or trap from deck to hand. Do they have those? Oh, there's a lot of cards here, huh? Alright, that's cool. This is like a full-fledged archetype. Well, that's neat. So, you're banishing a card during your opponent's turn if they move something from the graveyard. And you can also detach materials to search spells and traps, which can only be better and better as time goes on, of course. This is Exosister Caspatella. Light 4, warrior. Okay, so these are warriors. Are this one a warrior too? Okay, so spellcasters are warriors. Really cool card art. The card art in Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently, by the way, absolutely cherry, in my professional opinion. All right, this is, yep, Caspatella. Sure, why not? You can only use the first and third effects of this card once per turn. If this card is XYZ summoned using an Exosister monster's material, you can apply this effect this turn. Neither player can special summon from the graveyard. Wow, that's pretty neat. So you just kind of like, it sounds like a toolbox, honestly. So like, do you need to banish something? Or do you need to banish something and have this? Especially if they're going to have so many, like 4 right off the bat. Hey, cool stuff. Cannot be destroyed by battle, special summon in the graveyard. So again, I'm pretty sure all these are probably going to be the same. You can add detachment material for this card, add an Exosister monster from deck to your hand. Yeah, it's actually really neat because, you know, if you're special summoning this during your opponent's turn and you have just a 1 card underneath, like you don't have to expend that to use the effect, right? Like this just says if this is, you know, special summon, no special summoning from the graveyard. This says, you know, you can just target and banish, it doesn't detach the material, and then you can use the effects again during your turn to kind of get that advantage back. I don't know why the picture's not showing up, but this is Exosister XiangJian. 2 level 4s. You can only use each of the first and third effects of this card's name once per turn. During the turn this card was XYZ summoned using an Exosister monster's material quick effect. You can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of the turn. Which is nice, right? Because you would think like, I wish I could just kind of negate anything, which of course you would. I guess everybody would. But you know, if you have like multiples, and obviously these all trigger at the same time, like the main deck monsters, you're going to be able to stop them from special summoning from the graveyard, and then anything else on the field that's left, you know, you can use that monster negate. Still the same thing, can't be destroyed by battle, special summon from the graveyard. You can detach 1 material from this card. This turn, XYZ monsters control gain 800 attack. That's pretty lame, but I guess if you have such a good effect like monster negate, you gotta have to balance it out on some level. Another XYZ rank 4. This is Exosister and Feel, and you can only use the first and third effects once per turn. This card is XYZ summoned using an Exosister monster as material. You can apply this effect. Neither player can activate card effects in the graveyard. If your opponent does not need their graveyard, this is catastrophically bad. I guess that's... If they do anything with their graveyard, this is the best deck ever, right? So, I don't know. Cannot be destroyed by activated effects. Do all of them say activated or destroyed by battle? Activated effects. Maybe I was reading this wrong. Okay, some of them are by battle. Some of them are by activated effects. Good to know. All right, this card says you can attach 1 material from this card, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. So compulsory evacuation. If there's a way to help trigger this during your turn, we're talking about something different. So far, I love it. Like, it sounds great in theory, but if your opponent knows and they're staring down and they actually read your cards, which I probably wasn't when I was playing it, that's pretty tough. This is Exosister Amen. This is a quick play spell, which obviously can be searched by the first one. Can only be activated during your opponent's turn. Interesting. Okay. Unless they control a monster special summon from the graveyard. Pay 800 life points to target 1 Exosister monster you control. XYZ summon 1 Exorcist XYZ monster whose name is different from the monsters you control, using the target as material. Well, ask and you shall receive on some level. So if you're going first, you can, you know, use the first one to search this card, and hopefully you still have at least 1 other material. So, but what is the effect of what's the quick effect of this one? So you get a banishment? No, that's not true. It's only the turn it was. I don't know. It seems good, but I'm not sure. I mean, this is obviously good to hard draw. You know, it's just you're gonna have to XYZ summon that one to search it out like most of the time, unless you just hard draw it. Meaning, like, do you have other monsters on the field that you can use this with? I'm not sure. All right. This is a continuous spell, Exosister Carp Dilem. That's probably not going to be the name. You can only use the second and third effects of this card once per turn. Exorcist monsters you control cannot be targeted by effects of monsters that were special summoned from the graveyard. Second effect, if you XYZ summon an Exorcist XYZ monster, you can declare 1 card name, negate the effects of cards whose original name is the same as a declared card until the end of the turn. Wow, that's that is like that card. I can't even... Prohibition. especially if you know what your opponent's playing. That's very good, actually. And it's searchable. Alright, now I'm starting to get a little hyped here. That's pretty cool. Alright, third effect. When an attack is declared involving your Exosister monster, you can target one spell and trap your opponent controls, destroy it. This card does a significantly. And you can use each of the effects too. You don't have to choose one. Pristine, I say. Pristine. That is good stuff. I like good cards. Good cards are good. And last, and certainly not least, I mean, a lot of these cards have been great. Exosister Vadis, a normal trap. You can only activate this card once per turn. Pay 800 life points. Take one Exosister monster from your deck. Then take another Exosister monster that was specifically list the first monster in its text from your deck and special summon both of them, but shuffle them into the deck during the end phase. Also, for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Exosister monsters. Who cares? Alright, so now I finally... It's pretty much all together now at this point. So the idea is hopefully you draw like one of these, honestly. Like I think that's like the best case scenario, because then you can search this one out with the first XYZ monster, and then you summon two of them during your opponent's turn. Hope they use something in their graveyard or like mess with your graveyard, so you can special summon two of them, go into like either an effect negate. They can't special summon from the graveyard. They can't activate effects in the graveyard, like that kind of stuff. And then you kind of see where it goes from there, because then you can start detaching materials, adding monsters, all that good stuff. This is the ultimate does your opponent read kind of deck, which I like because a lot of people don't. But let me know what you guys think about this archetype in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.